Hi, I'm Holly Frey from Stuff You Missed in History Class, and I'm here with Bryan Young, who is the author of Children's Illustrated History of Presidential Assassination. And while there have only been 4 presidential assassinations in history, there have been many more attempts, all of which are detailed in Bryan's book. The stories go way beyond the assassins and their part in history. There's contextual history of each president, and it talks a lot about the politics surrounding them and what really leads up to the events. It is the official selection of the Dragon Con Kaleidoscope track for 2014, and it's got really gorgeous illustrations by Aaron Kubinek and by Bryan's daughter, Scout, and they are awesome. So first, will you kind of tell us about how the book came about and Scout's involvement in it?
Yeah, so I was in DC for, I've got a writing group out there, and as writers are wont to do, we started visiting museums, and we found ourselves in Ford's Theater. And Ford's Theater has this amazing new museum display, and you go up through the museum, they take you through all the history, and you go up and they take you to the booth where Lincoln was shot. And I'm standing there, and it's just the most amazing, bizarre, tingling sensation. It was like my spider history sense was going off. And I came home, and I'd taken all kinds of pictures at the museum, and I was telling my kids about it, and I was showing Scout the pictures of, like, they've got the gun that Booth used, they've got all these kinds of artifacts there, and I was showing her all these pictures, and she just kind of quietly took it all in. And then the next day I came home from work, and she had plastered on her wall all these different pictures of the Lincoln assassination because she was so fascinated by it. And the one I was fascinated by was she did this portrait of the gun that killed Lincoln in this giant banner, and then there's the gun and the bullet coming out, and I was like, are you really that interested in this? And she's like, yeah, I totally am. I want to know more, like, why would someone do this?
Yeah.
Like, why would someone do such a thing? And so we went out looking for a book to get her, and there really wasn't one. I mean, they're all so dry and boring and big, and so I was like, I wonder if I could write one. Maybe I could do that. And I started researching stories, and when I got to Andrew Jackson's, I was like, okay, this could totally be a kid's book.
Well, and one of the things that's really interesting is, I mean, you're dealing with dark subject matter. So I have to wonder how you sift through all of that. Like, I mean, you even touch on Charles Manson and Squeaky Fromme. That is some grown-up material. But somehow you manage to find this tone that's appropriate for children, but you don't shortchange the facts. So how do you kind of do that?
Really, for me, that was thinking about, like, what my daughter would care about and what she wouldn't care about, and what she would need to know contextually. Like with Charles Manson, she didn't necessarily need to know about the Sharon Tate murder.
Right.
But she needed to know he was crazy and that he sort of developed this religious following.
Yeah.
And so giving enough context without straying from the goal of the story, which is why Squeaky Fromme might have tried to kill Gerald Ford.
So it's like your 9-year-old is a divining rod at that point.
Yeah, no, it really is. It really is.
So I have to ask, which of the presidential assassination attempts, or successful ones, is your favorite to talk about?
Maybe Theodore Roosevelt's.
Yeah.
Although I tell the Andrew Jackson story a lot because
The
it's
Andrew
just
Jackson
fun.
story's good.
It's like, and then Davy Crockett subdued him. It's like, okay. But Theodore Roosevelt's is so amazing, where, you know, here he is, he gets shot, and they're like, sir, you're bleeding, we need it. He's like, but I'm not coughing up blood, let me go give my speech.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, fine, you know, like, you're not going to argue with Theodore Roosevelt.
Yeah, he definitely earned his reputation
Yeah.
as kind of a rough and tumble gent.
But it was so, and then it was like, and the fact that the ghost of McKinley apparently visited John Schrank and was like, you need to avenge me, you know.
He doesn't visit you?
No,
It's
no,
just
I've
fine.
never been visited upon by William McKinley. That would be interesting.
I can only imagine the conversation. So since Ghost did not visit you, what was your research process actually like doing this? Because that's a lot of material.
I'm a big fan of going and reading period newspapers. So I read a lot of those, which is weird because a lot of the history books gloss over some of the coolest details.
Yeah.
Like every modern retelling I've read of like the Theodore Roosevelt assassination, they imply that Roosevelt was like at the podium ready to speak and got shot there, and it's like, nope, I'm going to continue my speech. But the story is so much cooler when you back up and go, like, no, he was coming out of dinner, getting into his limo on his way to the speech,
Yeah.
got shot, and then talked everyone out of not driving him to the hospital, and then got up and gave a 90-minute speech. Like, there's details like that you find going back.
And that is characterized normally as like him being in the midst of it. You're exactly right. I mean, I think that's the way most kids are told that story, probably in the interest of brevity and kind of covering course material, but it leaves out some of the juiciest parts.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things, speaking of juicy parts, is how throughout the book, as things come up kind of contextually, you'll drop in these great little explanations of like what gangrene is, which it helps to know for a kid, or what the PT in PT boat designation stands for. Did you have to censor yourself? Like, are you automatically kind of a super explainer?
Sometimes I am. Like, I just naturally assume no one cares as much as I do about anything I'm trying to explain to them, and so I do have to self-censor myself a lot between like, no one cares what PT stands for, or they do, and with this, the benchmark really was like, is Scout going to come up and ask me what the hell I'm talking about?
She is a divining rod.
Yeah, she is.
Perfect.
For this book particularly. So it was like, she's not like, what does PT stand for? Why? Or what is gangrene? That's just a fun word, so she's going to want to know what it's about.
Can name a hamster that.
Yeah.
So sometimes creative collaboration is a little tricky, and I can only imagine with not one but two illustrators, one of whom is your offspring.
Yes.
That could be a little bit of a wacky ride. How did that work?
Well, Scout was definitely the more difficult illustrator to work with.
She's
because
a diva.
she it wasn't that she was a diva. We got like halfway through the process of doing her illustrations, and then she got way behind at school, and it was like, do I force her to do her homework or drawings for my book? But Erin was great to work with, and actually Erin, she took the pages. I wrote the book about a year before she illustrated it, actually, and I just handed her the manuscript, and everything that she drew, with one exception, was something that just spoke to her. So when she started sending me pages, I didn't expect a 3-page cartoon about George Atzerodt
Which
getting
is
drunk.
so fun. It's so fun. I can't even describe.
But the only one I had to go back was like, really, you missed Lincoln and his costume for the Baltimore plot? You have to go back and illustrate that. And that was like the only time I had to go back and say, give me something else.
The illustrations are absolutely gorgeous, and the ones that Scout did are really, really fun. I was telling Brian before we started talking, her illustration of Kennedy's assassination is oddly moving for a fairly simple kid's drawing. It kind of captures the feeling in a very surreal way. So if you would like to see these drawings and read Brian's fabulous work, you can do so where?
You can get the book on my website, which is bryanyoungfiction.com, or you can get it wherever books are sold. Just ask for it or Google it, or as you please.
If you would like more types of content like this, you can subscribe to our channel. And if you have a favorite presidential assassin or assassination attempt, you can totally leave that in the comments below. And otherwise, we will see you at HowStuffWorks.com.